Just step back for a moment and look at some of the limitations of this type of analysis. It's hard to generalize when we look at one industry and a company because there are going to be different composition of businesses. Seasonality could distort ratios, so if you're looking within 1 year, many businesses have high fourth quarter Christmas season revenues and profits, so make sure you consider seasonality. Window dressing is what companies do to make their statements look better, and it's really kind of an artificial change in numbers just to distort what you might think by way of ratio analysis. And finally, the accounting decisions and practices and policies might not be comparable when we compare one company to another. The other thing you'll hear is a phrase called quality of earnings. And that means that different companies have different sustainability of their revenues and profitability. And here are some red lights. If you see a single customer being dominant, then the company is at risk on what might happen with that one customer. If a particular product is the one product that drives sales, we're now vulnerable to competition in that specific product. A supplier, so if a key ingredient or raw material comes from one place, that over-reliance might make you vulnerable to a negotiation or a supply shortage. And the other is the percent sales in domestic or percent sales overseas, which show that you're at risk of changing economic conditions in those regions. The others are more strategic. What is the competitive position in the industry for this company versus its competitors? And then the other is pipeline. Pipeline refers to what's going on in the R&D side, and is there innovation that would lead to higher prospects for the future? Finally is the industry characteristic of are there legal and regulatory aspects of the business that would jeopardize or put the company at risk. So what we've seen in Chapter 3 is a focus on financial statements and then doing analysis from those historicals. We look at ratios, which we saw many classifications of ratios that deal with the balance sheet, income statement, or a combination of the two. And then some other techniques that help us do analysis, those being trend, common sizing, and percent change. And finally, we step back and look at a couple of limitations and cautions when we do financial analysis. All right, so that wraps up Chapter 3.